Media Watch. Hello there, James.
Good evening.
See you. We're having a little giggle behind the scenes there. Now we're going to start with a story we were just talking about right here in France. The Prime Minister, he's having a tough time of it, isn't it? He took the state jet to Berlin to watch the Champions League final. Oops. Now it's emerged his children also went along for the ride. It sounds like a jolly to most people. He says, no, it was official business. I'm perfectly entitled to do that.
That's right. God be with the days when as a Prime Minister you could do whatever you wanted and no one checked your bills. And especially in France back in the 70s and 80s, I think all of this stuff would have gone unexamined. It was only 18,000 euros.
So tiresome.
Right.
19,000 I heard.
There you go. Okay, well, depending on the maths. In any case, this all happened on Saturday. It was during the Socialist Party Annual Summit. It was down in Poitiers, wasn't it?
Poitiers, that's right, yeah.
Then he took a jet off to Berlin and came back in the middle of the summit.
A nice weekend, didn't it?
That's right, very nice. Turns out the two children were on the flight as well, and all of this came to a cost of 19,000. Now, controversial, why? Because he is from Barcelona originally, which ultra-nationalists have pointed the finger of blame at him, or not the finger of blame, but they've said, how French are you really to be French Prime Minister when you're born in Spain? This is a discourse that some people actually hold. And so by going to support the team from the city where he was born, it plays into the hands of those sort of types, ultra-nationalists. In any case, Libération's front page this morning said he has scored an own goal for the Socialist Party. All of this, why? Because there was a lot of criticism of irresponsibility with state money when the Socialist Party was in opposition. They were making such accusations of the then ruling UMP party. So this doesn't really reflect well. And it did look really for most of the week like it was not a business trip, but a trip really for personal pleasure to support his team and bringing the children along and all of that. So it looked very bad.
And did he really think that nobody was going to find out? I mean, you've got to question these politicians' judgment sometimes.
That's right.
It's not going to look good, is it?
He defended himself in Parliament yesterday and made it all seem as if he knew what he was doing. He doesn't really care. But let's take a look at how the story has developed in the last 24 hours, because the satirical weekly, the Canard Enchaîné, says, well, hold on a minute. The Prime Minister is now claiming that it wasn't just a trip for pleasure. It was also a business trip in order to meet with Michel Platini, the head of UEFA.
Platini was in Paris today. Could he not have waited?
Well, that's what other people are saying. But according to the official version of the Prime Minister's residence, Matignon, this was a meeting that had been planned to discuss the FIFA crisis and also to discuss Euro 2016. But as you say, as you have correctly pointed out, some people saying, well, he was coming to Paris already.
Hollande's not happy about it either, is
he? In any case, at that meeting this morning, the Michel Platini, he met, I think I have the photo here, with François Hollande to handing over the first ticket for Euro 2016, which will be in France. At that press conference, he said, no, indeed, the version of Manuel Valls is correct. We did have a meeting planned already in advance. So these photos that you saw in the stand, which the Canard Enchaîné say were accidental, that they didn't plan to meet at all. They just happened to meet in the VIP box. Well, Michel Platini says it was all planned. So stop criticising, well, he didn't say that, but the inference would be stop criticising the Prime Minister, because this was all business. And indeed, sport brings in a lot of money, and the Euro 2016 championship will be, I suppose, big business for
pay for that flight many times over,
indeed.
I'm sure. Well, one Prime Minister who would not get away with flying around on a private jet to see football matches is the Greek Prime Minister. He's battling to save his country's economy. He's got another meeting tonight. I don't know how many times we've said it's the last ditch attempt for Greece to placate its international creditors, but they do need a deal by the end of the month.
That's right. And
it's getting pretty tight, isn't it?
I think you could describe it as a high-stakes poker game at the moment, because each side is remaining relatively entrenched in its position. Greece saying creditors need to make concessions, there needs to be debt renegotiation. The Troika, essentially the European Central Bank, the European Commission and the IMF are saying, no, Greece has to make concessions, you have to raise taxes, you have to reduce pensions, etc., etc. So each side is remaining pretty entrenched. And essentially, just to show you how this played out in the last couple of days, there was an interview by Tsipras, the Prime Minister, to Corriere della Sera in Italy, where he said, look, if you don't make concessions, we're going to exit the Eurozone, and that's going to be the beginning of the end of the Eurozone. So make concessions. To which Europe replied, get real, as that article says in Politico.eu, decoded as drop dead by this Twitter user. But then it appears that, and we're seeing, this is the live blog, that they are now apparently going to make some concessions. So Germany, which had
made like a very dysfunctional relationship, isn't it? I'm going to leave you. No, you're not.
It does. This is
Please stay. I don't I can't live without you.
It's all very...
and he won't even wear a tie.
Human relationships. He won't wear a tie. This is another...
I thought that was the finance minister who didn't wear ties.
Well, apparently the Prime Minister too. This is something that the Luxembourgish Prime Minister is criticising him for. Tsipras says he will wear a tie when a deal is struck, Laura.
Well, we look forward to that.
When the Germans make concessions.
James, thank you very much indeed. James Creedon there with Media Watch. Now...